Physical education deals with a lot of body movements, um, movement skills, movement and skills. And then, of course, it's really hard to imagine how will these skills be translated or put into a certain written module. So we need to do something about it. We need to evolve and try to be creative at most. So there are a lot of strategies and techniques in teaching PE in the online platform, but I would just like to share my own strategy based on my experience and based on what I'm doing for the past 1.5 years now. But before everything else, I would like you to consider, before you decide on a certain strategy for you to use when you teach, you should consider one, your resources, and of course, the resources of your students. Here in Benguet, especially the students studying at Benguet State University, since it's a state university, we cater to a lot of indigent students who are scholars. So not all of them have the access, internet access. Some of them are just using their mobile phone or their mobile data. So we have a limited strategies or technique to use for them to be able to access it with just mobile data and mobile phones. So with this, I would like to share my own experience. So first and foremost, so we are asked to provide a printed handout, a learning packet, or a module. Whether you belong to the DepEd, the CHED, the public, or the private, it is a must that you have to prepare a module for your students, because these modules will be distributed to them for them to be able to cope while staying at home. So basically, what is a module? So a module can be defined as a unit containing topics or segment of instruction. So basically, your topic, your lesson that you wanted to share should be in your module. And of course, the length will differ depending on the topic you wanted to introduce. So it can be a 1-week module, or it can be a 2-week module, or it depends. For me, for my students, I give them a week or twice a month. But for those who don't have internet access, for those who don't have mobile data, we give them by term. So good for midterms or good for finals. So of course, not everything that you wanted to teach in physical education can be compressed in a module. So you need to be creative on how to do it or how to write everything you wanted to teach them. So first and foremost, it should contain all the needed explanation of the topic with a step-by-step procedure for them to understand the skills you intend to teach. Since PE is a hands-on practical skills, application of practical skills, so there should be a certain procedure on how you do a certain skill, and it should be a step-by-step procedure. So you should consider that when you do your module in physical education. For us teaching in the dance, it's a bit easier because we have the literature. It's already ready. The dance steps are clearly written by the author of the dance. For example, this. So they can really read and try to practice the certain dance steps. So it's a bit easier in dance as compared to others. In a face-to-face setup, you can just get the ball, try to show it, and then try to throw it. But of course, in the module, you should specifically write the step-by-step way on how to throw it. And aside from the step-by-step procedure and precise action, it should contain an illustration or a diagram or a picture for the students to imagine the skills you wanted to teach them. So aside from reading the detailed sequence procedure, they should also see the picture. Of course, you need to have a instructional video or a video. Since aside from the instructions and the picture, some students cannot really get it. So you need to show them visually the skills you wanted to teach them. So what is an instructional video? So it's a recorded content that provides detailed information on how to meet the specific challenge. It features an expert meaning as the teacher, on the particular topic who describes or demonstrates the relevant information to resolve an issue or achieve an outcome, often with real-life applications. So in physical education, it's really very difficult if it's just written in illustrations without the actual demonstration of the skills that they can see or they can observe. So if you can see, if you have a two-way video, it will be better for them to clearly see the skills you are trying to teach them. But if you don't have, one camera is just okay. And then of course, after you deliver the skills, you should also video a slow motion for them to easily observe the skills you are trying to teach them. Because some are not really observant, so they need to observe in a slower pace for them to understand the skills you're trying to teach them.
Dr. Jenny, ano-ano pa yung mga ibang strategy na naiisip ninyo na po pwedeng magamit sa online PE teaching na hindi nyo pa napapractice before?
What are the possible learning platforms for physical education aside from the detailed module with instructional videos? A 2D animation is also good. As I said, if you cannot have a video, a two-dimensional animation is also okay. So what is a 2D animation? 2D animation is the art of creating movement in a two-dimensional space, which include characters, creatures, effects, and backgrounds. The illusion of movement is created when individual drawings are sequenced together over time. 1 second of time is usually divided into 24 frames or 24 drawings to be exact. Depending on the style of animation, there can be as many as 24 unique drawings in 1 second animation or as little as 2, depending on what specific skill or activity you are trying to portray. So an example is this. If your students cannot access the instructional videos, if you don't have any other means, you can have this. So they can see clearly what you are trying to teach them. So when we say 2D animation, correct. It's a form, it's like for cartoons, typical cartoons, wherein a lot of drawings need to express one activity. Just like this. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drawings just to show a lip. Okay, if you get what I mean. Anyway, another is, for me, this is the best. If we have this is the best strategy to teach physical education if we have the resources and the funds for it. It is your 3D visual reality, or what we call the virtual reality. So it refers to a computer generated simulation in which a person can interact within an artificial three-dimensional environment using electronic device, such as a special goggles with a screen or gloves fitted with sensors. If you remember your Xbox, your Wii, it's something similar to this. So this is the picture of the person in a 3D or virtual reality. So the moment she puts on her goggles and her sensors, as if she is in the actual scenario itself. Since we cannot really teach some skills in PE like the practical basketball game, the volleyball game, the soccer game, which is really, and swimming, of course, especially we cannot bring the students, and of course we cannot really put a detailed explanation on how to swim unless they're in the water. This is the best if only we have the resources, the 3D virtual reality. But as I said earlier, these are the best few things that we can use in teaching PE in the online class. So for me, for the resources I have, and for the resources of my students, I'm just using the module with detailed procedures and illustrations. And of course, I give them instructional videos for them to be able to get my lessons. So that's all, and thank you for listening. Keep safe, so please stay at home.